Hey friends, hi, hello, vanakkam. You are watching this interview series with Mr. Abishek IAS, and the part one of this series is already out. If you haven't checked it out, the link is in the description box below. Please do check it out. And in this part, we are going to see a lot of things about geography optional, and you can know the books, the strategies, what he followed, and has cleared UPSC exams with geography as the optional subject. This would be highly helpful for people who are thinking of taking geography as your optional and for people who have already taken that as your optional. So over to the video.
Sure, sure.
Coming to geography optional, it is the most loveliest optional which aspirants come and take. And though people are there who really like the optional and who take geography as their optional after thinking about them, will that suit or not, there is also other side where people say it is a most scoring optional and many people have cleared you taking that as optional. So is it right for a person to take geography as the optional just based on the trend and seeing it as a mark fetching option?
First, let me clarify. Geography was the one of the worst performing optional from 2015 to 2018. From 2015, when the trend started to drop, geography marks started dropping like anything because paper was so tough. 2014 varaku, geography was like it was at the top of the hill. People were scoring a lot, but the trend started dropping. And only now it is again reversing. That's the generic trend about geography. But coming to your question, your exact question is, should a person select an optional based on the marks that others scored the previous year? Adani question. That's the question. No. Optional selection should always be based on your interest, because optional is like a postgraduate level examination. If you see the UPSC syllabus, they would have clearly mentioned that optional is a PG level paper. So to do a PG level paper, first you should have an interest. We will join a college only if you have interest. We will select a discipline in a college only if you have interest. Similarly, optionals should always be selected based on interest. Despite geography being a very poor performing optional, in 2017, I took geography because that's the only subject of interest. I cannot imagine myself doing any other option. Let it be PubMed or sociology or anthropology. Anthropology was scoring very high, but I didn't take it. I took geography because only if you're interested in a particular optional, particular subject, you can sit with the subject and read, because books will be so deep. Subject will be so deep. It will be like almost like doing a PG. So you should always select an optional based on interest. And I selected geography based on my interest.
Yes, sir. And coming to the optional strategy and stuff. So, what were all the books you followed for geography optional, and how was it for you to manage the paper one and paper two, the map reading stuff, and
Hmm.
what were all the general strategies you followed?
Yeah. See, the first, let me say what are the books I did for geography. First is Savindra Singh Physical Geography, which completely covers geomorphology, climatology, and oceanography, the three most important part of paper one. Then I covered things from Majid Hussain Sar's book. Majid Hussain Sar has written a lot of books. Like he has written a book on human geography, which is called as Evolution of Thoughts. He has written a book on urban geography, which is like I don't exactly remember the name of that book, but it will have a orange cover with an Africa map. I just remember that book. It's a
Models in
very
geography.
yes, models in geography. That's a very interesting book. That book literally, if you just cover that book from cover to cover, you can just answer a number of questions in paper one and also in paper two. And then for paper two, let me be very specific about paper two, because paper two is where you can actually get a very high score. I scored 180 in paper two out of 250, which is one of the highest uh, considering the score. In paper two, what is needed is your dynamism. Paper two has no textbooks. If let me be very clear, paper two has few textbooks like India, People and Economy, NCRT. That's an important book for paper two. You can either do Indian Geography by Kuller, or you can either do Indian Geography by Majid Hussain sir. Any one of the textbook is more than enough for geography paper 2. But everywhere you write your geography paper 2, you should include examples. First, let me cover the paper 2, then I will shift to paper 1, because paper 1 is very systematic, paper 2 is dynamic. What is example writing in your answer paper? Let us just take how roadways improve economic development as a question. This is a very typical question which can be asked in Indian geography. Everybody will be writing India has 5,000 kilometers of this road, 50,000 square kilometers of that road. Road can easily move traffic. Everybody will be writing this. So we should somewhere include a point that will give us an edge. We should ensure that the evaluator will understand that this particular candidate is very different from others. Only then you can score high marks. So a steadfast rule which I followed for that is writing examples. For the same question I said, I daily used to travel from my place in Krompet, which is in southern Chennai, to Anna Nagar via a bypass road. This made my travel much easier. I will directly write that example in the exam paper. I will draw the map of Chennai. In geography, drawing map is very important. There is no need for your diagrams to be artistic, but it should be clear. If you draw Chennai, it need not be exactly like Chennai, but it should somehow resemble Chennai. So I used to draw the map. And I used to just draw the road, putting it Tambaram, Anna Nagar. I'll just say this particular bypass ensured vehicular traffic moving inside the Chennai city reduced. It increased the efficiency because more people started traveling. It cut down the time. Tolls were kept, so toll revenues increased. So my answer will be like completely lively. It will not be directly out of any book. This strategy literally helped me in all the attempts. In all 3 attempts of mine, my second paper marks were so high. It was 155, it was 165, and it became 180. So this inclusion of your own dynamic example, which no one else will do in that particular exam, will definitely fetch you more marks in paper 2. This is the only theory which I have for paper 2. Questions will be very simple. Monsoon, write about monsoon, write about urbanization in India. Let it be any question. Let it be development of Dandakaranya region, because we have something called as planning in second paper. Dandakaranya region is in Chhattisgarh. So in newspaper, once I saw a map, they clearly said a railway track is cutting across Dandakaranya. This will improve. All those newspaper diagrams you should remember. Only so I again said you should make notes from newspaper, and not just making notes, you should revise it once in a while. Every 1 month you should revise it like that. Because see, why I'm saying revision is, it is again up to individual. Somebody needs more revision, somebody needs less revision. For me, generally, I don't do much revision. I can remember it if I do it once, but some may need more revision. So according to their own level of absorption and remembering capability, they should do revisions. If there is any map, you lift it and put it in your answer paper. This kind of examples will make your paper to stand out from the crowd. If your paper is totally different from the crowd, your marks will be very high. Because an evaluator is also will be seeing it, right? He will evaluate, it is different from the previous paper which he corrected. It's unique, it's dynamic. So if you just do this particular example, inclusion of example in your answers, you can ace your paper 2. That's my only Tarak mantra for paper 2. Let me come to paper 1. Paper 1 is more like static. But nowadays what UPSC is doing, they are making it dynamic. For example, in 2017, first question in paper 1 was pseudo volcano. Nobody knew what pseudo volcano was, because there is something called as mud volcano. Mud volcano's geographical name is called a pseudo volcano, but nobody knew what it was. What on earth is pseudo volcano? Until and unless they have studied BSc, MSc geography. But here comes your lateral thinking. We should not always look out for answers. We should guess the answer. Like prelims, how randomly we give some analogy to the question and we just say, okay, the question is like this, so answer will be C. Like that, we should also apply our mind. Our lateral thinking in paper 1 will help us. What I did was, pseudo means false. So it is a false volcano. So how I interpreted it, like in a volcano, fire and magma will come out. So in a pseudo volcano, which means a false volcano, fire should not come out. Magma should not come out. It's a false one. So something else should come out. Like that I interpreted, and I wrote a 2-3 example which vaguely resembled the mud volcano answer. So this is the way to write our answers. Never on earth a person can sit, complete the syllabus, read everything from end to end, completely prepared, go to exam, sit and write all the answers as it is given in a book. If somebody says, I will never accept it. This exam is more about crisis management. See, now, if you are a collector, definitely if a protest comes, it's a crisis, you're going to manage it. You should be dynamic. Same thing, your question paper that is given to you is a crisis. It's a crisis, it's a problem. It's a very big headache that is given to you. You should somehow smartly solve the issue. That's exactly UPSC geography paper 1 is. Any question given, if you are unable to, for many question answer will be direct. They will directly give you, write about primate city concept, write about growth pole, write about growth center. So those things you can directly write. You should directly write it from books. Even there, if you can give examples, it will be good. And another important thing that a person should remember is in paper 1, example should be from world. It is international geography. You should include examples from Brazil, for example, if there is anything in urbanization, Brazil, America, Europe. In paper 2, examples should only be from India because it is Indian geography. It's very important. If you go and give Brazilian example for urbanization in paper 2, they will not give you marks because paper 2 is Indian geography, paper 1 is international geography. So this was my geography strategy. It is not a strategy. It is just like understanding the subject, implementing it with examples, and handling crisis as it is. I think I've given an elaborate answer for this.
Yes, this is highly helpful because I'm also from geography optional background, so
Oh,
I could relate to most of the questions. Thank you so
yeah.
much, sir.
Yeah.
And next is one small doubt, sir. So when it comes to answer writing, the
Mhm.
answer writing what we do for GS and for optionals, there is not much difference, but obviously there would be some difference. So coming
Exactly.
to geography optional answer writing, so you have already given us many inputs like we have to include maps and stuff. Other
Hmm.
than that, what are all these steps which we should follow for making our answers look better?
Uh, Usage of keywords. That is the most important difference from your GS answer and your optional answer. Coming again to geography, since that is my optional, and I think I have a little hold to talk about geography, which because I cannot do with another example from sociology or PubAd. I'm again going to geography. Viewers should not think why this person is again and again talking about geography. When you write a geography answer in GS1, it should be simple. There you should not go and put complex technical geographical terms. There you should not put very complicated examples. In GS1 answer should be very simple. See, when I'm writing volcano in GS1, it will be as simple as a non-geography optional student. Definitely we will be having our edge while writing our own optionals in GS, but it should not be complex, complicated. It should be simple because what is expected from general studies is it is general studies and not specific studies. But in optional, what is expected is your specific knowledge, usage of keywords, usage of names of theorists, because we will be having a number of people who would have propounded a theory like Zipf's rank size rule or Karl Marx theory, population theory, cornucopian theory. Like that, we will be having names of people. We should, if possible, try to remember those names and include it. That will give you a feel that you have studied and you have written and you have not just managed. So the only difference in answer writing in optional geography and GS geography is the depth of answer. In optional, it should be deep, it should be clear, it should have all the keywords that a geographer would write. In general studies, it should be like a generic, simple answer which even a layman can read and understand. That's the difference between optional and GS.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. This is a very valuable input for every optional student who has particularly taken geography as your. So that's the end of part 2 of the video, and I hope you got multiple insights about geography optional. So in the next part, we are going to know a lot of things about Labasna and Bharat Darshan. So it would be a highly inspiring video. So stay tuned, and thanks a lot for all your support. If you people want to follow him or me personally, you can always follow us in our Insta ID. Both our Instagram IDs are given in the description box below. So do follow there, and thanks a lot for all your support. Thank you.